Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer. I am here at Levi Stadium. It's windy out here. Had to move my location just a little bit today, but we are here, Levi Stadium, the 49ers on site today for day 6 of training camp. They'll have a break tomorrow, but the end of the second, third day session for them. And it was a good day overall. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to break it all down coming right up next. Real quick, want to shout out a couple of folks over in the comment section. We got Michael Miller, but also we have Lucas Pesci, a member of the Toolbox who comes to us from Austria over in Europe. Great to have Lucas on board. If you want to be a member of the channel, go ahead and hook it up. It's pretty cheap. I think it's $1.99, $2 to become a member of the channel. As part of that, you also get your name, the little dollar sign next to your name. Your comments are going to get featured more often as far as questions and those types of things. So let's get right into it. Today, like I said, day 6 here in Santa Clara. Brock Purdy on the field for the second time, back-to-back days. The 49ers have tomorrow off. I would expect to have for Purdy to also be off on Wednesday, so we'll probably next see Purdy on the field here in Santa Clara on Thursday. And you start to look at the numbers, and you start to look at his play over these last couple of days, and it's continued. Week day 1, 3 of 10, then he went to 6 of 12. Yesterday, 10 of 15. Today, 8 of 11 for Brock Purdy. One of those incompletions wouldn't have been counted during a game because it was the result of a holding on Diamondor Lenore. We'll get into all of that. You look at the day today, though, for Brock Purdy. 2 of his throws connected with Brandon Ayuk. One of those, this is the first 2 to start off with. He hit Brandon Ayuk on a curl. Then he comes back and hits Deebo Samuel on an over route. Really nice balls to start off. Then you get to the third series of the day. The first play of that, Purdy does a good job. One of the things when we talk about quarterback play, it's not just about the way they throw the ball. It's a lot of different things that go into their evaluation. That third series opens up with Purdy drawing Eric Armstead offsides. So that's a nice play to start it off. And then there was a run play following the run. Purdy tries to connect with George Kittle on the out route along the left sideline. That's the incompletion that I just mentioned, where Diamondor Lenore is there, knocks the ball away for the incompletion. However, the referee did throw the flag and call the defensive holding on Diamondor Lenore for the play. So good start for Purdy. You go back, and the one mistake, though, that he made came on the next series. It was actually the very next play. Purdy dropped back to pass. He gets some pressure, flushed out of the pocket, moving to his right. As he's getting out there to the right side, he thought that he had Christian McCaffrey open back to his left, back towards the middle of the field. One of the things that they say is don't throw the ball back across the field if you're moving. He did that. The throw was offline. It was a little bit behind. Christian McCaffrey hit Marcelino McCray ball in the hands, but the linebacker was able to hold on for the interception. So close to having an interception there for Brock Purdy today on that one. But that was really the only mistake of the day. Go back to the next series. And on that next series, you see Purdy being able to show off his mobility. There's some pressure from Talanoa Hufanga coming on a blitz on the right side, and it's a lot of noise today. Talanoa Hufanga coming on a blitz off the right side forces Purdy to step up into the pocket. This guy's making a lot of noise with his garbage cans. Let me hold on. He's going to drive up right next to me. Watch this. Maybe this is a sign of my show today. Maybe it's going to be garbage just like these garbage cans. Trying to make money here. Now it's quieting down. Okay. On this play, you get the pressure from Hufanga. He steps up. It might have been a sack in the game. I don't know. It's close, but Hufanga's coming. He's kind of getting blocked a little bit. Purdy does a good job sliding up into the pocket and then up. There's nobody open downfield. Takes off. It's wide open for him, and he runs for a long gain. Good job by Purdy, I felt like, with moving on that play. Then later on, he connected on a couple of throws, one with Brandon Ayuk, another to George Kittle. The one to Kittle was a really nice one. Kittle was lined up on the inside, ran it out about 10 to 15 yards down the field. Purdy put it right on him. From there, they moved down into the red zone. And this is where you get a couple of touchdowns today for Brock Purdy. He's working at the 15-yard line. I think they're up at the 12. He connects with Deebo Samuel, who beat the coverage of Fred Warner. On this one, it was a little bit tight, but he made a nice throw in there for the touchdown. The next throw lined up on the 5-yard line. Purdy lofts the ball into the right corner of the end zone to Juwan Jennings for his second touchdown of the day. So you look overall, Purdy 8 of 11 today with 2 touchdowns. You look back over this week, where Purdy is through the first 4 practices. Overall, pretty solid. Like I said, 3 of 10, 6 of 12 before the last couple of days. Over the last 2 days, 18 of 26 uh, for Brock Purdy. So not too bad there. 18 of 26, a fumble, a interception, 2 touchdowns to go with it. So not too bad overall for Brock Purdy during these first 2 padded practices. So we'll get into all of those numbers down the road as far as where he is overall right now. But today, 8 of 11, 2 touchdowns for Brock Purdy. Like I said, a pretty good day. The only real mistake, the one throw to Christian McCaffrey when he's moving out to his right, basically just puts the ball right on the hands of McCrary Ball, who's unable to come up with it. Let's see what else we got. Let me just take a look really quick. Yeah, I see some of the comments, and I'm not sure what I don't know. Real quick before I move on, I really don't know what a lot of people are watching when they're watching Brock Purdy on the field. I'm not getting it. Yesterday, like I said, he was 10 of 15. We went through his whole day yesterday on this channel. Today he's 8 of 11, and there's just a lot of people. It seems like that do YouTube that are biased. And I'll just say this: I do this, and I do this partly because of the views and the money that it creates. Right? It's an additional extension for me to be able to get to you, but it also is another income stream. And I'm really taken back by some of the things that I've heard people saying over these last couple of days. I'm really not pointing any one particular person out, but I know it's happening here on YouTube, and it's also over on Twitter as well. It's just wild. I don't understand a lot of what's going on. You don't have to tear down Brock Purdy to talk about how good of a day Trey Lance had, and vice versa. I just don't get it. And be quite honest with you, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of that stuff. And I'll do you guys a favor if you guys can to not bring that garbage up in the comment section if at all possible, at least for me to see. That'd be great, because I don't want to be getting into any kind of arguments with these guys. I'm sick and tired of the bullshit. Sorry for the language, but the stuff that we're hearing about Brock Purdy over the last couple of days, you just got to question where people are coming from on that. And like I said, like I said to begin with, you do not have to tear down one quarterback to build up another. For example, Brock Purdy had a really good day today. He was 8 of 11, like I said, 2 touchdowns. And guess who else had a really good day today? Trey Lance. So it's not just one or the other. It's both guys. And when you start to get into it and you look at Trey Lance's day, it wasn't as you didn't get the same volume that you got a couple of days ago or even yesterday. It was a little bit quicker practice today. Yesterday was the longest practice that we've seen so far of camp. A lot of move the ball period, and those days usually go a little bit longer. Today, not quite as long. It was a much shorter practice. We were out right about 12 o'clock, and that was after having a break due to an injury that we'll get to in a minute. There was a player that went down that took a couple minutes to get off the field, and so to get out at the time that we did shows you how quick. And like I said, Purdy only 11 targets today. Trey Lance had 6. He was 4 of 6, and because there's only 6 of them, it makes it nice and easy. But let's just go through all 6 of Trey Lance's throws today. You look at his day overall, he didn't get any touchdowns, but there were some good things that he worked on. Number one, this was a bad play. The first play of the day for Trey Lance, not a good one. Play action, rolls into his right, has George Kittle open in the flat, but the throw came out of his hand off, and it was just too high. Kittle was unable to make a play on the ball, so that's a bad play. That's just what it is. It's an incompletion, big deal, first play of the day. Comes back after that, he makes up for that on the very next throw, where he drops back to pass, and he drills an out route to Brandon Ayuk on the right sideline. Really nice ball. I mean, that thing is a laser getting out there. And if you followed this channel last year during training camp, you'll remember that I talked a lot about Trey Lance, and in particular, some of the struggles that he was having. And one of the things that he struggled with a lot during training camp last year was the timing and the throws on the outs, to whether it was Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, Juwan Jennings, didn't matter who the receivers were. He was struggling with the out route. Trey Lance struggled with that out route during training camp, struggled with it during preseason. We didn't really get to see much after that because he was lost so early in the regular season, but he definitely struggled with it. And so to see him make that strong throw to Brandon Ayuk today, and it's not just today, we've seen him make several strong throws over the last couple of days. Yesterday, he had a couple of really nice throws to the outside on timing routes to receivers that are hitting him right on the money. That's not something that we saw from Trey Lance last year. It is something that we're seeing from him this year. So that shows the improvement in his game, and that's a good thing. Like I keep saying, that's if you're a 49er fan, you want Brock Purdy to do well. You want Trey Lance to do really well. And you want Sam Darnold to do really well. Even Brandon Nunn. You want all four of these guys to do really good and make this a really hard decision on the 49ers what they're going to do at this quarterback spot because it's the most important place on the team anyway. So, again, bad throw to Kittle. Comes back with a really nice throw to Brandon Ayuk. Then following that, you have a screen out to Ty Davis-Price. Nice little game there. Then Lance connects with rookie tight end Braden Willis. It was a check down, nothing downfield. Did a good job looking, nothing there. Turns, throws a little check down out to the left side for a completion in the left flat. That was a really nice one. The other one, there was right after this, there was another one that I would say doesn't make the list in terms of a throw because the throw never came out, but it's one of those plays that doesn't show up on the stat sheet when we look at the completions and all that kind of stuff. It was a play action. He has Deebo Samuel open. We all seen this route, I don't know how many times, right? Quarterback drops back. It's a quick fake and then a quick throw over the middle, right? We see this a lot to Deebo Samuel. Usually it's Deebo Samuel. Sometimes it's Brandon Ayuk, but usually it's Deebo Samuel. Well, today, Lance had that throw, had Deebo Samuel open, didn't pull the trigger for whatever reason. Pressure gets to him quickly, and then he has to scramble and move. And I don't even really remember exactly how that play ended up. It should have been a completion to Deebo Samuel really quick, and it was either a scramble or somebody marked it down as a sack. I'm not sure which one. So that was a bad one in terms of a non-throw. But like I mentioned, you had the completion to Ayuk, Davis-Price, Braden Willis. Then they go move down into that red zone, right? He only had a few throws in the red zone. Opens it up. He has a nice little completion to Jack Coletto in the flat off of play action. It's on the left side. Almost got to the end zone. Coletto getting tackled at about the 1-2 yard line. Didn't make it in the end zone though. If that was a game, there's no way he gets into the end zone. He would have been tackled by the linebacker at that point. Then you get to the last one, and this was the final throw of the day, still in the red zone. Lance trying to get the ball out to Ross Dwelley. It's a quick out on the in the right flat. However, the pass was just behind the tight end, which allowed the defender to knock the ball away for an incompletion. On that one, the ball was just behind him. It was a quick 1, 2, 3, boom, bang, bang kind of a throw, and Lance just missed it a little bit. The ball was just a little bit behind, and because it was on the back shoulder instead of out in front, because it was back here, it allowed the defender to come down with his hand, knock the ball away for an incompletion. But like I said, overall, Lance 4 of 6 on the day. Nothing to complain about, that's for sure. Another positive day. He's done really well. You look at it back over these last 3 days. Very good for Trey Lance, especially compared to where he was the first 3 days. On those first 3 days, remember, day 2 and 3 of camp, he was 4 of 10 overall. These last few days, much better, much improved, a much better completion percentage, that's for sure. So pretty good stuff overall for Trey Lance today. So you got to like that going into the break. I think right now, after day 3, I had said that I felt like it was Sam Darnold leading the quarterback competition for that backup spot behind Brock Purdy. I think that might have changed a little bit. I'm not sure. I think, these guys are really close to each other, but if we just look at if we want to base our analysis of how that quarterback competition is playing out based on who's playing where, Trey Lance continues to get the first reps when it comes to the team stuff. He's the first one out there with the second team regularly. And so, we'll see what happens moving forward. Foreigners have the day off tomorrow. Do me a favor, guys, if you can do this, if you're in, we got 127 people in here. If you guys can all hit that like button for me, that'd be fantastic. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do that as well. Let's get back to it. We still have to talk about Sam Darnold. Darnold, like Lance, not very many targets today, only 6 for him as well. And while Purdy and Lance continued to stack good days together, Lance 3 days in a row, Purdy a couple of days together. I felt like today was a rough day for Sam Darnold. They only had two completions. It wasn't quite as bad as a 2 for 6 sounds like, but at the same time, it wasn't anything. I wouldn't say it was good either. It was a little bit more of a rough day. Anytime you complete under 50% of your passes, it can't be a good day. You go back, you look at this, and it started off well. The first play of the day for Darnold, he had a curl route over the middle to Deebo Samuel. It's one of those plays the Flyers like where they have that guy looking like he's going to run, vertical up the middle, stop and turn around. And that was a really nice throw from Darnold to Samuel. Good timing on that one for a nice completion. The next play, though, Darnold drops back to pass, gets a little bit of pressure. The right side of the pocket kind of starts to collapse. He tries to get a check down out to Ross Dwelly on the right side. One hops it to him. He's kind of got pressure in his face. It's just a bad throw. Something that you kind of worry about with Darnold when he's got pressure around him. Today, that was one example of it. Then the team went and had their special teams session. Then you get to the best throw of the day for Darnold. He hits Tay Martin on an out along the left sideline. This was the best throw, like I said. It was also his last completion. It was just bang, 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 hit his last step, get it out there. Martin with decent coverage from Samuel Womack does a good job of beating that coverage, and Darnold gets it right to him. Then you slide down, you get back into the red zone. He's got three opportunities within the red zone. The first incompletion here, this is one that's not his fault. This should be a touchdown. Darnold, the play action, rolling out to his right side, has rookie tight end Cameron Latu open in the right flat, puts it on his hands. However, instead of getting both hands out like this and making the catch, Latu just tries to grab it with one hand. The ball bounces out, and we're going to get to Latu a little bit more in a minute. But that's got to be a catch by the tight end. That's got to be a touchdown right there. So a bad job on his end. Then from there, you have a throw underneath, a couple of them to running backs, one to Kalen LeBourne, the other to Ty Davis Price that followed. Both of those got knocked away by the covering linebackers for incompletions. So overall, you get a 2 of 6 day. Darnold definitely struggling a little bit with a couple of things, but you get a throw to Latu that should be a touchdown. You have good coverage on a couple of throws to the running backs there, and your numbers are what they are. You just get 6 attempts, 2 of 6. Talked about it earlier. It was 2 of 5 for Trey Lance was a bad day. 2 of 6 for Sam Darnold was a bad day. So not good there. Brandon Allen had a bounce back. Brandon Allen, we're in day 6, and I would say it's like this every day. One day it's here, the next day it's here, then it's up here, and then it's down here. It's pretty much been like that. If you look through the numbers, if you go back through the first 6 days for Brandon Allen, it's either near perfection or no completions or 1 or 2 completions. It's just not very good. Today, he had a rough day yesterday, comes back from that. 5 attempts today for Brandon Allen, completes all 5. He had a couple of throws to Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Those were both completed. Also connected with Danny Gray on a deep over route for a nice gain. He even had a nice throw down the field to Tay Martin, who we'll talk about here in just a second. But Brandon Allen doing a good job of getting those second-level throws today. So for some nice completions there for the 49ers. 4th-string quarterback, right? So not bad. Good stuff there. Davis, you have got to get in here on time. Turn your notifications on so I don't have to keep repeating Brock Purdy for you. I'm kidding. Brock Purdy, 8 of 11, 2 touchdowns, 1 pass that was nearly intercepted, bounced off the hands of linebacker Marcelino McCurry. Ball rolling out to his right, tried to throw it back to Christian McCaffrey, who was open, but because of the angle and moving one way, don't throw back over the middle. But that 8 of 11 today for Brock Purdy. So not a bad day, a couple of touchdowns, like I said. And I agree with this one. Purdy throwing across his body during games last year, so he has to practice. It just wasn't able to connect with Chris McCaffrey. You're going to throw those kind of things every once in a while. That was one of those situations where if it's a good throw, right? If he puts the ball where it's supposed to be, it's a nice play. But it wasn't a good throw. It was a bad off the mark one. Clelin Ferrell continues to look good. He's a decent backup guy for the 49ers, who also brought, I don't know if you guys know this already, but the 49ers added a defensive end today, and we'll get to that in just a minute. BDanna says, smash that like button, please do. Let's see what else we've got. I'm just looking through your comments really quick. Pretty average yards per completion today. I don't know. Let me go back through. I'll tell you real quick. I'll give you a good idea. Since you asked the question, you ask and you will receive today. Let's see. First one, a curl on the left side to Brandon Ayuk. That's probably about 10 to 12 yards on the curl there. The next one, an over route to Deebo Samuel. So that's about probably 15 to 20 yards down the field from Purdy. Then a little screen out to the left side. So that's going to a little tunnel screen to Debo Samuel, something that the 49ers do a lot anyway. The next one, 13, he goes on the out to George Kittle. That's the pass breakup that resulted in a holding. That was about 12 to 15 yards down the field on the left side. The near pick was about 4 or 5 yards down the field because it's close. From there, play action move. Nope. The curl completes a curl to Brandon Ayuk. That's about 10 to 12 yards downfield. That was a really nice timing play, I thought. The out route on the outside to George Kittle was about 10 to 15 yards down the field. So you asked me the question on the averages outside of the throws at the goal line, probably about 10 to 12 yards, I would say, for the most part. Definitely pushing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, pushing the ball into that intermediate window where was really good last year. That's kind of where the ball was going a lot today. Down in the red zone, of course, more underneath throws, but I think overall it was in terms of yards per completion, it was pretty good stuff overall. I think for Purdy today. Uh, let's see what else we got. Jesus, you're welcome. I appreciate that question. It was a good one. That was a good question. You made me have to look through all my notes. See that? You guys are on fire today. We got 154 of you in here. If you guys got questions, good questions, think about it. Make sure it's a good question. I know, hey, if you were probably when you were in school, your teacher said there's no dumb questions. Trust me, there's dumb questions. But let's get some good ones out there. Let's get some good ones out there, guys. Jawan Jennings, Tay Martin, want to get into touch with both of those. Jawan Jennings had one of the best routes I think we've seen in CAF. It was in the red zone. It was a touchdown that he caught from Purdy. It was just a little stutter and go type of thing. Stutter, hold that defender, and then get out to the back corner of the end zone. Got open, got behind him, and Purdy just laid it up right into his hands. Really nice play. Jawan Jennings, third and Jawan, right? That's the guy making plays. Tay Martin. Tay Martin was an undrafted rookie free agent last year out of Oklahoma State. Big play Tay, they called him at Oklahoma State. He's quietly had a really good start of training camp. I haven't talked about him nearly enough, I don't think. But today, he had a couple of nice plays. He got open on a deep crosser from Brandon Allen. That's kind of that over route type of concept where they get to about 15 yards. Wide open, nice throw from Brandon Allen. It was good timing on that. Came back a short time later, beat Samuel Womack, on that out route that Darnold hit on the left sideline for a completion. So Hey Martin is man, he's right there in this race. The 49ers, you've got Brandon Ayuk, you've got Debo Samuel, those are your top two. Jawan Jennings is number 3, Ray McLeod is number 4. And then it starts to get a little hazy, but I think it's again Samuel, Ayuk, Jennings, McLeod, Danny Gray. Those are your top 5. Then you're battling. If your 49ers are going to keep 6, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight between Tay Martin and Ronnie Bell. Chris Conley, the veteran, he's done some things good, but we've seen this out of 49ers in the past where they have veterans that come out and do well during training camp, especially early on. They kind of start to fade towards the end, or the team starts to phase them out. A guy like Chris Conley, who has performed well at times, I don't see him making the final roster, but he might be a guy that the 49ers, if he's willing, would like to try to bring back on the practice squad. We'll see how that plays out. Let's talk about some tight ends really quick. I got 3 tight ends today that I want to talk about. Who doesn't like to talk about the tight ends on this team? George Kittle, one of those guys. Really quick, I got it. What? Come on, James. Is Colton McKivitz having the worst training camp? No. Colton McKivitz is actually doing fairly decent over there. I think you look at the 49ers starting. When the 49ers have their starting group out there with Trent Williams like they did today, they do a very good job of holding up. They're doing a really good job of protection. The last couple of days, like yesterday when Jalen Moore was out there, it's a little bit more iffy. But when they're starting 5s out there, even with Colton McKivitz looks really good. I think. Michael wants to ask me really quick: is Brock's near and missed interceptions and interceptions? Any chance that he's forcing the passes? The one today would be maybe a little bit of a force, but that's the kind of thing that a lot of quarterbacks can make that throw. He's been able to make that throw. It was just off the mark. He was also off the mark on another throw today when he was on the move to his right side. He had Brandon Ayuk along the back end line. Should have been a touchdown. It was a bad throw. Just completely missed it. So, coming back from the injury, hasn't been throwing for a very long time. he's just not on the mark. He's got to do a better job on the move, making this throws. He's been pretty good in the pocket when he's been able to set his feet. He hasn't been the same consistent guy. When you saw him move around last year, it seemed like he was pretty good on the move when he was targeting somebody. He's kind of struggling with that right now. So I would say the near interception, at least today, was more about that. No, Lucas, there was no information. But Kyle Shanahan didn't meet with us today, and if Kyle Shanahan doesn't come to the podium, we do not get an injury update. Kalia Davis wasn't practicing, not sure exactly why. Um, so let's see what else we got. Not sure what the situation is there. Uh, Going back to the tight ends of the 49ers that stood out today, George Kittle, he got open a couple of times. The first I mentioned earlier, the leading to the hold on Lenore, that was a tight one, but he was going to win that route if Lenore didn't grab him. A couple of possessions later, got open on that little out, lined up from inside. That was a nice one. Braden Willis, this rookie tight end, Braden Willis, this is the guy to pay attention to. There's a battle right for that second spot behind George Kittle, and Braden Willis, I think, is starting to make a name for himself in that battle. He's starting to really kind of assert himself there, making some plays. Uh, you look at like today, for example, he's doing better for sure in the run game. Watching what he's doing, the work that he's putting in the run blocking side of it. Uh, but Kalia Davis, when it comes to his hands, he's the best. He's the second best receiver right now among the 49ers tight ends, at least guys that are actually catching the ball. Today had a couple of receptions, nothing down the field, both kind of around the line of scrimmage on short throws from Allen and I think one of them might have been for Lance. I don't remember who it was, but he had a couple of catches there and did a really nice job. He's done a nice job of getting up the field. I'm sorry, like I said, it was Allen was one of them. The other one was Trey Lance. I should just keep my notes so I can see what I'm talking about, so I don't say I don't know, because most of the time I got my notes to help me out. But yeah, a good day for Braden Willis. I think he's right there in this battle. Cameron Latu, the fellow rookie that was taken in the third round. I don't know what's going on here. You watch Cameron Latu, he's a good blocker. You watch him run routes. He yesterday during one-on-one drills he was working against fellow rookie Jair Brown, safety. He completely turned Brown around. He had him in the spin cycle, got wide open, and then dropped the pass. I mean, it was the route running is there. The catching of the ball, not so much. He's had a lot of balls hit his hands and then hit the ground. Today, he also beat Jair Brown deep on a go route during the one-on-one session, but this time the throw from Brandon Allen was too far. He wasn't able to get to it. But Latu, his route running is winning, but he's got to catch the ball. Today, like I mentioned, he had the one in the flat from Sam Darnold where he just reaches out with one hand and drops it. That's just kind of a laziness thing. You got to get out there. You got to make the get the two hands on the ball. So like, there's things to like about Cameron Latu, but right now the way things are, he needs to start putting things together. It's only been 6 days, so it's early, but he needs to start to pick it up. It's like he's a rookie. I get it. He's coming from Alabama, where Alabama is a high profile program, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just don't see the intensity out of him that you'd want to see, but I can be just reading it wrong from the sidelines. He just needs to not drop the ball. That's the main thing. Do the routes, do all that stuff you're doing, but catch the dang ball. So that's where we are in Cameron Latu. Jalen Moore, you saw this mentioned by a couple of folks over in the comment section. Jalen Moore, the backup tackle, he went down. It was a running play. Not sure exactly what happened on the play. I was watching the ball. I didn't see him go down. After the play was over, he was on the ground. He was able to get up. He was able to walk off the field on his own power, but when he got to the sidelines, he had to get on a cart to be taken off the practice field and taken into the team facility. And the team hasn't provided an update on his status. So unfortunately, I can't give you guys any update on that. But Jalen Moore went down today. He's in a tough fight, right, for that swing tackle position. So needs to do a better job there. Do the 49ers miss Jimmy's leadership on the offensive side of the ball? No, I don't think so. Brock Purdy does a good job over there getting that group together. He's not a raw guy in terms of, like, you're not going to see it's not like a demonstrative type of thing, but I think that team, that side of the ball does pretty well, and they've got other guys around there. They don't necessarily need to be a loudmouth type of a guy to be the leader. I don't think they miss Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think the 49ers miss Jimmy Garoppolo one bit. You look at the way the quarterbacks are playing through training camp. Brock Purdy coming into it now on day 4. Trey Lance coming into it now on day 6. Sam Darnold up and down, but for the most part up, doing a pretty good job, I think. He's right there. And then Brandon Allen's the one that's really up and down. So there you go. Over on the defensive side of the ball, just a few names to shout out. Marcelino McCurry Ball. I think the second-year linebacker has been the best linebacker on the field, not named Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw. I think that Marcelino McCurry Ball, he's always around the ball, always around the play. Today, knocking Elijah Mitchell down on a run play, the two collide, knocks him on the ground. A little bit later, he's breaking up a pass from Ty Davis Price in the red zone. Just all over the place. He's been playing at a very high level. A lot to like there. I think he's in a position where he's fighting to be the second to, either the last or second to last linebacker on this roster. I'm not sure if he's really looking at a starting role. I think the starting role right now would probably go to Oren Burks if there was a game being played on Sunday, but there's not. So there's room to still fight that out. But Marcelino McCurry Ball looking really good, as is rookie D Winters. D Winters, this is a guy who I wasn't high on during rookie minicamp or during OTAs or really any of those types of things. But as I kept saying during these shows back then, it was, let's see what happens once the pads come on. Let's see what happens once they're able to start popping and all those kind of things. So D Winters appears like he's the kind of guy who's going to be better when the play gets physical. And that's what we've seen so far. He's really been able to hold his own the last couple of days. Today, had a couple of tackles behind the line of scrimmage on runs, so that's good. Got down into the red zone, had tight coverage on Kalen LeBourne to force to knock away a pass for an incompletion. So D Winters really starting to come into his own. Again, another guy who's really fighting for a spot at the back end of that 49ers roster, that linebacker room. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. That room is really deep. 49ers, I say this all the time, the 49ers have a lot of really good players. And there's going to be some guys that aren't going to make this team that they're got to hope that make it to the practice squad. Winters would be one. If he doesn't make this roster, I'd be a little surprised. Lucas comes in. He asks about T.Y. McGill. How's he doing? Is he making the team? I haven't really noticed T.Y. McGill at this point. I think some of these guys, like a McGill, some of these guys, along that side that we're not noticing as much. I think those are guys who we might see more of when we get into the preseason games. Because remember, right now, you're not getting sacks because they're not actually hitting the quarterback. So there's times when there's a play that might be a sack, but they hold up, so you don't know, those types of things. And I think he's doing fine. But again, the Flyers defensive line is really deep. And for T.Y. McGill, if Javon Kinlaw continues to play the way I talked about Javon Kinlaw on the show yesterday, talked about how well he's doing. If Javon Kinlaw continues to be the guy that I've seen over these first 6 practices, that's where it's a hard deal for a guy like T.Y. McGill to make the active roster, even though he's a good player. The 49ers just have so many good players along that defensive line. There's going to be some good players out there that aren't going to make the roster. There's going to be some good players pretty much at every level of this team, whether it's running back, quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, whatever, safety. There's going to be some guys that are going to be really good players that don't make the 53-man. I don't think he makes the 53-man. I think T.Y. McGill would probably be a guy who gets cut and the Flyers try to bring back on the practice squad. As far as Lance making positive progress, Lance has only had 2 bad days out of the first 4. That was day 2 and day 3, right? Remember, Trey Lance after day 2 and day 3, all of the Trey Lance discussion was about how unfair the rep count was to him and how he was only, it's hard to be good when you only get 5 reps. Well, he was really good today and he only got 6. I don't hear anybody really complaining about his number of reps today. You go through his practices so far. Trey Lance was good on day 1, struggled a little bit day 2 and 3, and he's been really good the last 3 days. So positive progress for sure. And the biggest thing with Trey Lance is his throwing motion is so much better. It looks like when he throws the ball now, most of the time he knows where it's going to be more often, more than in years past. He's putting the ball right where he wants to put it. There's a big difference in his accuracy with his throws. You got to like that about where he is right now. And um, Trey Lance is looking good. There's saying anything other than the fact that Trey Lance is looking good would be a mistake. Um, I know that there's been some video that's been posted out there regarding Trey Lance. I know Barstool Sports put one out today with Lance throwing the ball way over the guy's head. And I responded to that on social media because that was from May. That was a video that I took in May that was posted here on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure. Uh, uh, the that was a video that I actually posted on my YouTube channel that somebody found, copied, and then started putting out on social media, on Twitter and stuff like that. And I haven't seen Trey Lance do that since minicamp. He hasn't done that at all during training camp. He's had a couple of bad throws, but the complete air mails during warmups and stuff like that, for the most part, have become a thing of the past. So that's all good stuff with Trey Lance. So like that question there. Lucas, that was a really good question on T.Y. McGill. I appreciate that. Um, let's see what else we've got. Let's get to it. Taco Charlton. That is the announcement that the 49ers made today. It is Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday in San Francisco. That's right. The 49ers signing the 2017 first-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys. That was announced just before practice today. And then Charlton gets on the field and makes plays. Drops Ty Davis Price for a loss on a run play out to the left side. Then shows off his fast rush ability, getting to the quarterback. That's one of those things that wasn't a sack, right? Didn't actually stop the play, but he was there. If this was a game, it's most likely a sack. So Taco Charlton, Taco Tuesday in San Francisco was a positive. I'm not sure where the signing is going to go, but the 49ers right now, they need as much depth as they can find along the defensive end position. It looked like I did not see Austin Bryant out there today. I might have missed him, but I think that Charlton was replacing him in terms of the snaps, and they had moved off of in order to make space for Charlton. They let go of Young. I just talked about him a couple days ago because he made a couple nice plays last week, but the safety was let go. But Taco Charlton, now a 49er, first round draft pick of the Cowboys, has bounced around over the last few years. Now he's a 49er. We'll see if he has anything left in the tank to bring. And then the last player that I have listed I want to talk about today was Isaiah Oliver, the 49ers' new nickelback, who, I'm telling you, this guy's going to be an upgrade when it comes to the 49ers defense, when it comes to coverage from that nickel spot. It's an upgrade. Today wasn't a coverage play, though, from Isaiah Oliver. Remember I mentioned earlier about how Deebo Samuel caught a little screen from Brock Purdy? Well, it's a little tunnel screen out to the left side. Gets the ball. Deebo Samuel starts getting up the field. The veteran defensive back comes across and hits him and is able to knock the ball loose for a fumble. I think the ball bounced out of bounds before anybody was able to pick it up. But still, a nice play out of Isaiah Oliver today. So overall, good stuff. You look at where they are right now after day 6. The 49ers have tomorrow off. Then we'll be back on Thursday. Do not expect to see Brock Purdy on the field on Thursday. Kyle Shanahan, I know it's, every other day, he has to have 2 days on, 1 day off. It's really 2 days off, 2 days on right now. So tomorrow's a day off. The first day back, we will not see Brock Purdy. That will be his scheduled rest day. Will be all Trey Lance and Sam Darnold on Thursday. Friday will be the next time we see Brock Purdy on the field here in Santa Clara. The running backs aren't going to be 5 deep, Jesus. They just don't have enough space to have 5 running backs. It'll be 4 running backs plus Kyle Juszczyk, but it's a really good position from that standpoint. Michael, I appreciate the kind words. Says nice, good insight. Keep up the great work, Jack. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's very nice to hear. And then KD23 says, "Is Trey still throwing those wobbly spirals?" No, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. His ability to be more on target, to have a more consistent ball, is one of the biggest stories that we've seen from him, and that's one that goes really back to the beginning of OTAs. Even though over the OTA period he kind of started off good and then kind of faded, I think the positive thing for Lance is, and John Lynch mentioned this to us yesterday, is that in years past, in 21 and 22, Lance was working with multiple quarterback coaches. He'd work with one quarterback coach, come out here for OTAs, go back, work with another quarterback coach, then work with another quarterback coach, and then come back during training camp. And this year, he worked with the same guy all the way through. Spencer, he worked with Jeff Christensen prior to OTAs, came back after that, did it again. And I think that's really helped out Trey Lance. And the spirals and the wobbles. The wobbles are still going to be there every once in a while. Don't really care about that as much. But the biggest thing with Trey Lance is he's just throwing with better touch. That's the biggest thing. He's got much better touch. And when talking about touch, that's like, for example, if you look at the throw, if you saw the highlights the 49ers put out yesterday, there was a throw to the right side on an out, I believe it was to Chris Conley. And you can kind of see the ball, instead of it just going straight, you can see the ball like this, right? And that doesn't mean that he's lofting it. It just means that it's getting out there, but it's at a good pace, but it's not overthrown, not overly tough for the receiver to catch, all those kind of things. So really good touch there. Trock wants to know if there's any Danny Gray news. Gray had a nice catch today. So Danny Gray continues to impress. I talked about him a minute ago. I think Gray, you can pretty much pencil him in as the fifth wide receiver for the 49ers. He had a catch today on an over route from Brandon Allen, which was a nice one. And that's the only one I think. Yeah, that's the only one that I have down for Danny Gray. But he had a couple of nice catches yesterday. He's starting to really come along now. I like that. Spencer Wagey, how about them Niners, wants to know if I think he has a shot at the 53 or the practice squad. I definitely think he has a shot at the practice squad. I think as far as the 53-man roster, when it comes to Spencer Wagey, I think it's going to be more of a long shot than I originally anticipated. The 49ers, the depth there, I think is better than I might have projected originally. So I think it's going to be pretty good. DJ Tiny, how Jason Poe doing on the old line? He's doing good. He's working. He's not working with the ones, not working with the threes, so he's right in the middle right there. Pretty much, I think he's playing left guard, and he's holding his own. This is a guy who was an undrafted free agent, and to get to where he is right now, at least on the depth chart that we're seeing on the practice field, looks pretty good. He's a little. He's a little undersized, obviously, but the quickness kind of makes up for it. And he works a lot with Trent Williams, and it shows. So there you have it, everybody. That is the show for today. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to hit me up in the comment section after. I'll be glad to answer those. But if you guys can all do me a favor, before you leave today, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button. Once you hit the like button, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Once you subscribe to the channel, also make sure you turn your notifications on. Because like the one guy who keeps Davis, I think it is. Davis keeps joining late. Every time we start, he doesn't have his notifications on. So we're in, and we've already gone through Brock Purdy, and then I need to go over Brock Purdy again because he missed it the first time. So don't be Davis. Davis, I love you. I'm kidding. Just make sure that you guys hit the notification button, because during training camp, I'm not going it all at the same time. And if you want to catch the show live, please put that on, and that'll help you out. And again, if you don't hit it, if you come in late and you have a question, I've already talked about it once, I'm giving Davis a hard time. Trust me, I don't care. I'll keep talking about it, and I'll cover it if you have it. In terms of, real quick, there was one last question. How's Hargrave doing? Javon Hargrave is a monster. We'll just leave it at that. He's doing really well. Again, thanks everybody for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Keep it locked in right here to Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer for all of your latest breaking news and updates around the 49ers, especially through training camp and throughout this regular season. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk with you soon. Take care.